So many other factors too, your own genetics as well as age. When they take their socks off, it's like a snowstorm, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
their
Blizzard.
skin, it's a full-on blizzard, just skin flakes everywhere. It's because using gentle exfoliators, like that's not necessarily the right thing for everybody. One of the other common misconceptions that I have heard, or personally believed it when I was in my 20s and teens, is that you need to use this is Exfoliation 101. We're going to dive into how to do it, why to do it, how it impacts your hygiene. So first, let's talk about how often you should do it. And does it differ, Mamina, from exfoliation on your body versus your face?
So I think that there is the body, the turnover is not as, does not occur as often, but it's a matter of how much you also care about your body too. I do think that regular exfoliation is important for both the body and the face. But with the face, I do find that it's easier for skin cells to build up. And so I do recommend exfoliating the face a little bit more often than the body.
And I think it depends on so many other factors too, your own genetics as well as age. So as people get older, I'm sure you've seen this with your patients. First of all, I will say my older patients are my favorite. They are so kind, so humble, so genuine. But when they take their socks off, it's like a snowstorm, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
their
Blizzard.
skin, it's a full on blizzard, just skin flakes everywhere. It's because when you get older, your body just is inefficient at exfoliating and doesn't turn those cells over as rapid or as efficiently as it did when you were younger. So, when you're older, you really do have to focus more on very gentle exfoliation, helping to get those dead skin cells off, using gentle exfoliators like, a lactic acid or a mandelic acid or a low percentage glycolic acid or even like a low percentage urea. So it is important to incorporate that maybe into a daily moisturizer as well. And then it also depends on like if what your ethnicity is too. So if you are someone who like is prone to high glucose levels, diabetes, and you start to build up like thickened skin, you might want to exfoliate your body more often. Or again, skin of color, you start to notice more darkening in areas like your elbows and your knees, and that can be exfoliated a little bit more often than someone who, for example, has eczema and really sensitive skin.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think an easy way, especially for older people too, is incorporating a moisturizer that has those ingredients that you listed.
Hmm.
Like I love like amlactin, something with lactic acid, because there's also a moisturizing component like lactic acid and urea to those
Absolutely.
exfoliating ingredients. So you're kind of killing two birds.
Absolutely. And we're all about making life easier, not harder.
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think a common question that we get too is how often should you exfoliate your face?
Oh, well, I mean, I think TikTok can tell us the answer to that because fortunately, the pendulum has swung. People were burning the shit out of their face with that, what is it, the ordinary, like AHA,
Yeah,
30% BHA.
yeah,
Like, people didn't realize how strong of an acid that was. And they were putting it on like candy. They were putting it on their face. They were putting it in their underarm. Like, I saw several patients who came in with like burns on their skin from over exfoliating. So
mhm,
that's one way
same.
you can over exfoliate is by overdoing the percentage of the acid, but you can
Mhm.
also overdo it by the frequency. So again, I love Polish Choice, that 2% BHA, and I do use it a couple of times a week, but you know, TikTok tells you that you should be using it morning and evening, and that is essentially exfoliating twice a day. That's not necessarily the right thing for everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree. One of my pet peeves is some of the directions on some of these products. I'm like,
Hmm.
yo, like that's too much. That's too
Yeah.
much. I'm telling my patients to use this product maybe twice a week, even though it says twice a day.
Yeah.
So I would always be cautious when you're looking at the directions on an exfoliating product,
Hmm.
especially when you're starting out. I would make sure that your skin can tolerate it after like the first day and really doing it every other day. and like you said, it also depends on the strength of the exfoliant too. Like stronger exfoliants
Hmm.
can, I would say, once a week, and not everyone may even be able to tolerate it at all.
Hmm.
So I would be very cautious too before jumping into an exfoliant. But
Yeah.
there's also like some really gentle exfoliants that I do think that can be used daily, especially if you have a history of being okay with using exfoliants, and if they're gentle exfoliants like polyhydroxy acids or super low alpha hydroxy acids.
Hmm.
I'm talking like under 1 or 2% glycolic acid. Some people can be
Yeah.
fine with doing that daily.
Yeah. I think one of the other common misconceptions that I have heard, or at least maybe it's not so bad now, but I definitely personally believed it when I was in my 20s and teens, is that you need to use a physical harsh exfoliant. I mean, I think if you're listening to
Mm-hmm.
this podcast, I would hope that you have some sort of idea that we hate that, right?
Yeah.
That those like St. Ives or those clean and clear beaded washes from
Yeah.
the
Right.
2000s. Like, what were we trying to do to our skin? Like, what did our skin ever do to us to
I
deserve that
know.
disrespect?
I know people just think that they're being productive. I think when they are doing something, when they're feeling that sensation, I think to them they're like, "Yeah, this must be doing something." So people thought that they were doing their skin good by using these kinds of products, and I don't understand how it was such a huge phenomenon, especially in the '90s.
Yeah. Key takeaway. We'll interrupt this for a key takeaway. Derms prefer chemical exfoliators over physical exfoliators. Just
Definitely.
for those who just tuned in. So